Welcome to Conversations Live. For more than a decade, we've brought you the best in books, entertainment, and current events. When the movers and shakers of the world have something to say to you, they say it to us first. Now, here's your host, Cyrus Webb.
And welcome back, everyone, to Conversations Live. I'm your host, Cyrus Webb. Glad you all could join us once again. Whether tuning in on the radio dial here in Mississippi, we welcome you all back to our program. Also, those tuning in to our online affiliates around the world, it's glad to have you all with us as well. We're excited to welcome back to our program today Willis Victory. He's an individual I was introduced to, it's hard to believe now, almost 5 years ago. We're going to talk to Willis not only about the work that he's been able to do, but also what it's been like for him to be a part of projects that he believes in, as well as how he's been able to be an example for other people as to what they can achieve in their own lives. If you're still hearing about Willis, we'll tell you at the end of our segment how you can stay connected with him. But Willis, hello to you and welcome to the program, man.
Thank you, Cyrus. I appreciate it. Hello to you. I appreciate you having me.
Well, look, the pleasure's definitely all mine. You know, there's a lot for us to talk about, but I want to first of all just talk about the reflection. I think, for all of us, and you and I have both talked about this via email about the journey that both of us have been on. What has it been like for you to kind of reflect on the journey, Willis, and what you've been able to achieve over the years?
Well, Cyrus, as you know, with anything else, a lot of trial and error, definitely a lot of faith in, one thing I learned is, no money's not good, all money's not good either. Goes with the opportunities and energy of people as well. And that's one of the major things I've learned in evolving in business is just how to say no to certain things and also how to keep my faith sort of aligned with what I'm doing. And as you mentioned, products and things and people that I believe in. It has made the journey a lot smoother. Obviously, the wise men, they always say, you fail your way 1,000 times before you have one success. I've done that, and I've always shared my failures with people. A lot of times, we're able to celebrate our success, and that's kind of what we like to talk about. But, my main key and my favorite thing to discuss is just my failures and how they've helped me evolve. And I've learned from my mistakes and also just how to align myself with, like energy and products and things and businesses that I believe in. So I've been blessed to purchase a few companies and also partner a few more since we've last spoken. And we've just kind of evolved in a way that, I can only give credit to God first and foremost, and also just a lot of the people around me that compliment my efforts, and they're always there just to inspire, boost me up in the direction I need to, and correct me when I need that as well. So I've been very fortunate and very blessed in that regard, and it just continues to get better.
Yeah. You bring up an interesting thing, Willis, that I think all of us can appreciate and know that I have learned it to be true as well, is that, we are all forever learning if we allow ourselves to be taught. And I think that is the beauty of it. Do you think that has really been the key to your success? You're not being afraid to learn. You're not being afraid to grow. And you're not being afraid to be able to change course if necessary.
It has, Cyrus, and appreciate you saying that. It's vital. We can't be the smartest person in the room all the time. And at the beginning of my career, I think I kind of wanted that, and I think, we kind of want that, or we think we are. And, it's just, it's humbling to have people around that are much smarter or in different areas, and we're able to complement one another, but also, being humbled when we do make a mistake and being able to pivot and turn a direction. I credit that to a lot of my military experience and being able to adapt and overcome and transition in the right direction when it calls for it.
Right, for sure. So let's talk about business. I mean, have you always known that you wanted to be a person who could be able to have an idea, to be able to have a goal, Willis, and then to be able to work towards seeing that goal realized?
I would say yes. Really wasn't about the money, Cyrus. It was more about the freedom. I think you would agree, as I have a lot of principles that align with yours, and I've watched conversations evolve, and it's just about the freedom. Freedom to have the time to spend with my children, travel, but then also, contribute and help other people with my time and resources that I do have. Obviously, money's necessary to do business. I just never quite put that as the focal point. As a lot of people do, they set out to do business, to make money. it had to be a purpose, and the purpose was just to create the kind of freedom that, I now enjoy, to be able to work on my own schedule. Obviously, I have responsibility and obligations. I have 4 companies. I sit on the board of 5 others, but I'm able to do those in a way that aligns with my talents and my God-given abilities, and it kind of complements, what I do in everyday life, and also the different situations I'm able to attract and maximize my time in that capacity. So that's been the key. Just concentrating on the freedom aspect, and the money's kind of taking care of itself, and I believe it always will. It's one of my principles, and a lot of people beg to differ, but it's not the money focus, it's the purpose focus, and that money part's kind of taking care of itself, and I've been blessed in that regard.
Right. Well, I want to focus on something. When you and I were corresponding via email, there was something that you had wrote that kind of stuck out to me, and I think it ties in really well with what you've already said in this conversation, and that was about being of service. I don't think leaders realize how important that is, to be of service. For them, it might seem like an oxymoron to say, I'm a leader, but I'm a person who's serving other people. Do you think that also has been important for you to realize, if you kind of look at, as you were just talking about, the businesses that you run, the businesses that you are partnered with, the companies and individuals you partner with, is that you are not afraid to be of service, and you realize the value that comes from serving others?
That's correct. Wasn't always easy, Cyrus. Obviously, you run a few companies, and you start out thinking that people serve you, and really it's the other way around. And service has been the most important part of my evolution in business. When I learned to serve my employees, people that work for me, my business partners, my children, my community, has been the most important thing of just getting out of that narcissistic point of view that I think a lot of entrepreneurs have because of tunnel vision at the beginning of their careers. And I won't do anything any day without serving, and that's what we start with. I just hung up with one of my employees prior to speaking with you, and first thing we do is, how can I be of service to you? Obviously, we all work together, but how can I be of service? What can I do to improve your experience in working with me? What can I do to improve the world's experience in our business operations and what we do? And during our email exchange, I think you and I went back and forth, and I think I asked you, what can I do to improve conversations? What can I do to add value to you? And it's not for a compensation; it's for our service to our fellow man. And just no man's an island. We have to be able to reach our hand out and not expect anything. And I don't think that's easy for people in business to do all of the time, because it's like a trade system. You do something for me, I pay you for this. And we have to learn just to reach our hand out and not expect anything, and just to really be able to zealously serve one another and be able to do it genuinely and authentically. I think that's very important. And it's been very important just in the different companies that I run, because obviously we're not going to get the kind of cohesion that we need without the back rub of people working with us if we just have a dominating personality and we're not able to serve and bring value to the people around us. And I think as a leader, that's outside of integrity, one of the most important qualities we're going to have is just our service to the people that we work with.
For sure. That is so true. And I can definitely attest to exactly what you said, Willis, that, you said it a couple times, we want to know what you could do for us. And I think that, again, says so much about you and the way that you approach relationships and partnerships as well. We're going to talk more about that as we get into parts of your brand. I want to say, for those who are just tuning in, either on the radio side or online, you're listening to Conversations Live. We're excited to welcome back to our program today Willis Victory. He's an individual who's been able to find success not only in business, but also in life. We're talking to him not only about the building of his brand, but also what it's been like for him to align with businesses that he believes in, as well as partnerships he's been able to make, and what that's done for him as well. So part of what you've been able to do is diversify what you've done. I mean, and I think, this goes to what a lot of people can learn from when it comes to business, Willis. Talk to us, first of all, about the vodka line. I mean, what is it that led you in that direction? We know that, when it comes to beverages, that is a very popular endeavor and division to be able to be a part of. What is it that kind of led you in that direction?
Well, my business manager, Jeffrey Green, he bought a product to me, First Class Vodka, and I fell in love with the cosmetic aspect of the package. It was very classy. It was regal. It was something that I represent is, first class, doing everything that we can in a first class position, whether it's in our mind or our soul and how we take care of our bodies, and everything we should strive to do should be in first class. And I think you would agree.
Right.
The gentleman, the founder behind it, Reggie Bunt, he was just a very humble entrepreneur. Worked in the music industry, worked with some few platinum artists, and was just very humble. And in bringing me aboard, he says, hey, I want to get some distribution. I want to take this thing global. And I said, I don't see any problem with that. Obviously, brands, and you deal with a lot of brands, and they look nice, but when you have people working together that no one cares about who gets the credit, things kind of, they exceed expectations. And I think that's something that the brand represents as we set place into national and international distribution markets. And I was just very excited about not just the success it already had, but the potential of it. And most importantly,
right,
I was excited about what it represented in the energy. And Reggie Bunning, he's a person, asking how he can help, and we do the same for one another. And I always wanted to make sure that what I brought to the brand, it was value, not just money contributions, but value, and also representing what it is to be in a first-class position. It takes a lot of first-class energy, waking up early in the morning, late nights, I know you understand this, and just making sure that everything is done impeccably. All details are covered, and just the attitude of the brand and just representing it to the highest fashion. And that's what excited me and got me involved in that facet of the vodka and working with the distribution and, just marketing and creating that feel that we like to not only exude, obviously, through our marketing efforts, but also through our life. And that's what we were talking about at the beginning of the segment is, what aligns to our life? What are we doing that aligns to who we are? And I think that each of our products and what we do should always be about that. And I'm very proud of that brand and also just being able to contribute in the value of it and the attitude of what first class represents. And I hope that I'm able to carry that every day and get better in that regard.
Yeah, and I think, then, that also ties into, really what we've been talking about this whole conversation as well, and that is about, the ones that we align ourselves to. And, I could so appreciate and agree with what you said about not having to be the smartest guy in the room, but I think also knowing that you all are working together toward a common goal, then everyone's out just for, the product, the service, or whatever you're doing to win. And I think when that's the focus, rather than, as you were saying, who gets credit or who does this or that really does so much toward the work. You also been able to do other things, Willis, when it comes to, products and services that you believe in, as well as, things that you want to be able to advocate for. What has that been like for you to use your platform that way?
Well, it's been amazing. We've been able to obviously step into different markets that weren't always popular years ago. We've been able to contribute to better health, just in a worldview. We've been able to attribute to a lot of positive and inspirational movements, such as our Far From Mediocre basketball team. We have an AAU there, and I have a partner there named Travis Anderson, and he, being the visionary of the brand, just put things in a place where it was just so phenomenal with the response that we got from people just wanting to live further from average. And we're able to kind of remind ourselves with the brand every day through that. We see it all the time, and it's a symbol, and you know what things written down do for us and things that we continuously see. We make a habit, and our habits are who we become. So, we've made it a habit to live further away from average every day and develop habits that are a little further from average every day and work a little bit harder for one another. And obviously we're going to throw in the key aspect, again, being of service to one another. And that's where I spoke to you regarding the first class and then the Far From Mediocre. If you just look at the way they kind of correlate with each other, it just it fits. And we always want to be able to put that kind of product out there, first class, above average product, and definitely it starts with the attitude. We always want to just make sure we have the proper energy and our attitude in place. And obviously, our faith in God is the number one leader in that. And it's important to keep ourselves balanced and humble in that capacity, most definitely.
For sure. And what you're doing, I think there's another thing that people can appreciate, Willis, and that is, as you're working with other brands, how have you been able to still be able to identify the Willis Victory brand? How have you been able to, outside of your other work, been able to build your platform, and as I was just saying, expand on it and be able to use that to be able to support things that Willis believes in?
Great question. Obviously, you want to live up to your name your parents give you. And my brand personally has just thrived just due to the people around me. A lot of different opportunities that come to me from my team. That's the biggest thing that I have, just my business manager, my chief information officer, my chief financial officer. Dennis Lewis, he's just phenomenal. My information officer, Don LaBarbera, he's just phenomenal. And they just make me better in so many ways that I can't really take the credit for it. It's just they believed in my vision. They bought into it. They're loyal. Their integrity speaks for itself. And sometimes I feel that they do much more than I do. So that's why I brought up the service aspect, and I always want to be able to give back to them just for the support and their loyalty and, things they do that they don't have to do. And I think that speaks volumes of people that your organization, you're not having to ask them to take initiative to do things, and they speaking of your name the way that they do, things come up and their defense of who you are and what you represent. And that's kind of been just a part of our mission and the way we've been able to keep things in perspective, and also how I've been able to evolve in business and get where I'm at and continue to kind of grow in that capacity and be generative and expand. It's all credit to them and the people around me. And that's what I'll continue to say, and I'll always give them the utmost credit for, not only who I am. Obviously, I put in some work and some dedication, but without them, I definitely wouldn't be here, and I definitely wouldn't be headed in the directions that we're going and all the exciting things that we have the opportunity to embark upon.
Yeah. How has your idea, Willis, of success changed along the way? I think, as we continue to learn and grow, of course, I know for me, my idea of success has definitely changed. What it looks like has changed for me. For yourself, as you've been able to grow and expand in what you do personally and professionally, how has your idea of success changed?
It's changed drastically. Obviously, we've all been young, and I've had all the materials I think I could probably engage in. And, I was telling my son, I bought my first expensive watch, and I looked at it, and I was expecting it to maybe change something about me or something exciting to happen, and it never did. So I engaged more into, like I said, purpose and freedom. And most importantly, my legacy that I leave for my children. That drives me every day to wake up at 3:45 in the morning, and that whole focus of me being someone changed into who I can be for someone and who I can be for people. That's what's really changed. And the aspect of money's kind of left the conversation. And how can I bring value? How can I help others, pursue their passions and their dreams and set themselves free regarding time and what they want to do and the way they want to spend it. And I think, we all would agree, one of our goals that we all have in common, success is living life on our own terms, obviously with respect for other people and God. And I think that we've been able to achieve that, and I want to give not only my children that, I strive to give my employees that, and everyone in my organization, my business partners, my business manager, everyone, that freedom to live on their own terms, obviously with respect for their fellow man.
Yeah, for sure. You were profiled in our magazine Conversations back in 2013 now, Willis, almost 5 years ago. It was an interesting question that you were asked then, and I want to read your answer and then see if there's anything that you would add to that today, okay? You were asked, Absolutely. What advice would you give to up-and-coming business entrepreneurs? This is what you said 5 years ago. The advice I would give is to up-and-coming entrepreneurs would be: believe in the power of your future and dreams, forever remain original and unique, maintain a deep burning belief and passion towards your dreams, use naysayers or haters as fuel for your fire. They are very necessary in your quest to reach the epitome of who you are as a human being. What would the Willis Victory of 2018 add to that today?
Well, thank you for reading that back. I'll tell you what, I still believe in that 100%. I would just add the aspect of service and the value to that. And instead of waking up and, thinking of, how we can be and what we can get, it's turned around a little bit to what can I give? Again, how can I be in service? How can I bring value? What can I do for someone without expecting anything back? As we understand, the greatest form of giving is anonymous. We don't have to ask for things in return for what we're doing. And so my wake-up pattern every day at 3:45 is, I read for 2 to 3 hours. I want to be better. I want to be better for my children. I want to be better when I speak to you, my community, my business partners. Obviously, our temple we take care of, what God gave us. We want to be physically healthy. That's part of our wealth. In order to do all these things, we have to kind of master the Trinity of the mind, body, and soul. And that way we can give our all to people. We can't give anyone anything that we don't have. So the better and the more clear our visions are, and the more we're working at ourselves and mastering ourselves, the better we're going to be able to serve others and bring value to them. And I want to always be responsible for that every day, and just trying to just get 1% better than I was yesterday. And I think, I think we've been doing that. But obviously, as an entrepreneur, as a successful businessman, as you are yourself, you realize there's no place of contentment, but there is a place of gratitude. And we have to be thankful for what we have, while obviously not being content, and continue to expand upon, what we've been given. To whom much is given, much is expected. So we have more to give every day. So I think I would just add the giving aspect and bringing value. I used to wake up and think what I was going to do for my company, and how I was going to benefit myself, obviously, and it's kind of changed to how am I going to bring value to what's around me and who's around me, and how am I going to keep my employees and people I work with and inspired. And I have to take accountability for my own energy and my own work ethic and what I do to improve every day.
Yeah. I think that's the great thing for all of us to be able to think about too. And I think, Willis, as you were, sharing during this conversation, what I kept thinking about was, it's so easy for people to look at where you are today and say, what, I want to be able to enjoy what you enjoy. But the question then becomes, are they willing to put in the work that you've been able to put in? Are they willing to make the sacrifices? And are they willing to realize that, as we were talking about here, what it means when you say, to whom much is given, much is expected. So, and I think, that's questions for all of us as we kind of say, what we want to do in life or where we want to be. Are we willing to do what it takes to be able to get there? And I think that's one of the things, even that quote from 5 years ago show that you realized that then. You definitely have been able to walk in that now, and people have aligned to that today. And that's what has really helped you to be able to thrive in the ways that you have today. Again, everyone, Willis Victory has been our guest today. We've been talking to him not only about the journey of doing work that he loves, but also being able to become the person that he wants to be, a person that can be an example for others as to what they can achieve. So let's talk about the what's next, Willis. I'm always excited and always curious about this, because one thing I've learned to do, or I had to learn to do better, is as I try to look forward, I try to still appreciate where I am and where, what got me here. How do you do the balance? How do you continue to be consistent in the work that you're doing, but also setting new goals for yourself?
Yeah, consistency, balance, as you know, they're key. There's always going to be something new. The way I've been able to do that is just a lot of meditation, a lot of prayer, obviously my family, my children, and I'm always going to give credit to my organization and people around me. Iron sharpens iron, and they've allowed me time and freedom to live on my own terms while taking my leadership, and I've taken responsibility for that relatively seriously. I've just working out's a big part of it. Attacking the day every morning, 3:45, just being consistent with that program, and again, just creating those habits of consistency. As I tell my son, we have to be consistent. We have to put in the work to create the habit, because our habits are what becomes us, and we are who we are when no one's around. So I've just been able to kind of just keep a good meditation schedule, good read schedule, obviously keep a balance with my time. And that's one thing I've had to work on, is just, mastering every hour and staying in the moment, like you said, but also, keeping things moving forward. And I think you would agree to this, Mr. Cyrus. Every goal you have leads to another. As you accomplish one, it kind of leads to another. Just as I mentioned, the Far From Mediocre clothing brand, that just came about as an offer I woke up to from Mr. Travis Anderson one morning that says, hey, I want you to have 45%. Okay, I count that to, some of your beliefs and your faith base in what you're doing. Not everything you're going to get in life you're going to pull at. Some things, they're just going to come by good grace and kind of a natural, organic evolution. And that's kind of how business has come to me in the last 5 years. And I expect it to get better, and especially as I get better with my meditation base and, what I'm doing for others, I expect more opportunities to be a lot less harder than they were at the beginning of my career, and continue to set new goals and new visions for the company's expansions, and also, for the community. And I think my community goals and some of the things that I've committed to in that regard to other people have really helped my goal base and balance, Mr. Cyrus, most importantly. Just getting away from myself and mastering myself to where I can be of service to others and give them my best, other than looking for others to give me what they have and give their best to me. I'll be just honest with that. I think we have to be honest with ourselves. I had a mixed balance at the beginning of my career of wanting money and wanting success. And I think as we mature and we evolve, and obviously, our faith strengthens, we kind of understand, our principles and our paradigm have to shift a little bit.
For sure. Well, it's a great example for all of us, great reminders for all of us, Willis, again, regardless of what it is that we're endeavoring to do in life, to make sure we're doing it with purpose and integrity, and knowing that those things will continue to speak for us. Again, everyone, Willis Victory has been our guest. So, Willis, let our audience know, how can they stay connected with you and kind of keep up with what's going on with your businesses and you?
Well, I'd like everyone to definitely check out the vodka brand, First Class Vodka. You can look us up at www.firstclassvodka.com. Definitely keep up with us on Far From Mediocre Clothing. We're launching a national and international campaign. You can find us at farfrommediocre.com. It's just a lifestyle. It's not just a clothing brand. It's just a complete lifestyle. I can also be reached through our Catamount Farms operations. You can always look us up on that website as well. It's catamountfarms.com. Explain some of the evolution things that we're doing, aligning ourselves with some of the pharmaceutical companies around the world and expanding in some of those arenas as well.
Okay. All right. So a lot of ways for them to be able to stay connected. Definitely invite you all to do so. Willis, a really great conversation. Really appreciate the time, and looking forward to having you back on our program again soon.
Always a pleasure, Mr. Cyrus. And as I mentioned, if you need anything from me, let me know. No cost, no strings attached. Like to assist in whatever way that I can, and I definitely always appreciate your hospitality, your inspiration, and I've enjoyed the evolution of conversations globally as well. And congratulations on your new book deals and your partnership with Amazon. It's really inspiring. Keep it up. I really appreciate it, and people around me really appreciate it. You've been an inspiration to a lot of people.
Well, I appreciate that. It definitely goes both ways for sure, Willis, and definitely looking forward to staying connected. We thank you, our audience, for tuning in to another great conversation as well. If you all came in late and missed part of the conversation with Willis, don't worry. Thanks to our online friends, you all can catch the replay right after we go off the air. The link is already available through our social media site, so head over to facebook.com/Cyrus Webb or go to twitter.com/Cyrus Webb. If you click on the link there, you can listen to the show completely for free and share it with your friends from there too. Until next time, I'm your host, Cyrus Webb, saying as always, enjoy your day, enjoy your life, enjoy your world. Make sure you take out time to enjoy some good music as well as a great book. Thank you all for choosing Conversations Live today. You all make it a great one.